intelligent cloud and intelligent edge working together, and we have Mr. Mr. Vijay Rajagopalan, Partner Director of Product Management and Engineering at Microsoft. Before I hand over the session, a quick intro about him. He's a product management and engineering leader with hands-on experience in building internet-scale services, monetization, and growth hacking. He's very passionate about incubating new products in emerging markets and creating high-impact business models. He also has a strong experience focused on product strategy and management, competitive analysis, prioritization, experimentation prototype, software architecture and engineering plan, messaging, go-to-market strategy, ecosystem development, customer partner, community engagement, AR and PR. The floor is all yours, Vijay. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me well? Okay. I think it's a good segue from what Raj started, and I can resonate with a lot of things he said. I have about 20 minutes today, and I have to cover a whole spectrum about how to connect intelligent cloud and intelligent edge. I'm going to skim through a few things to set you the context, but majority of my time I'll be focusing on how do you connect the cloud and the edge together. My name is Vijay Rajagopalan. I've been with Microsoft for about 20 years, working on various products. I was one of the founding members of Azure, our cloud platform. Does any of you use Azure here? Could you raise your hand? Okay, good to see a few hands go up. Thank you. So I've been heading the Commerce and Ecosystem division of Azure, which is responsible for building the marketplace on top of Azure. That is my current role. With that, I'll just set you a little bit of context. When Satya took over the CEO of Microsoft, he set a very bold vision of empowering every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. With that mission, he also changed our company strategy to be a cloud-first and mobile-first company. To be transparent with you, in the last 4 years, our journey has been phenomenal. Many of our products that were very desktop-oriented, Windows-centric, have been moved into cloud-centric now. As an example, a brilliant transformation is Office 365. Right now, Office is available primarily through subscription. And majority of our services are moving towards a cloud-based subscription model. Let me talk about what we mean by intelligent cloud and intelligent edge. With the mobile-first focus, we also believe the world is moving to an ubiquitous edges. We're going to see lots of IoT devices, edge interfaces connecting to the cloud. As an example, a washing machine having some intelligent chip communicating to an IoT hub and to the cloud. That is a possibility. That's a near future. And we also believe right now heterogeneous devices are going to be the de facto choice. We used to be a very Windows-centric, myopic company. Now we believe multi-devices, multi-sense is going to be the order of the day. We also believe artificial intelligence is going to be the backbone to power all these devices and the cloud. Finally, we also believe, we keep talking about cloud and everything, we also believe the next generation of cloud will use less and less servers. Instead, it's going to be more on-demand serverless computing. So this is how Microsoft is envisioning how cloud and edge is going to come together. All right, so let me give you a quick tour of Azure. In the interest of time, I'm going to not focus on the productivity on Azure and hybrid, which is really meant for connecting on-premise to public cloud. And productivity is really targeted toward developers. I'm going to primarily focus on the intelligent and the trust. Before I get started, I do wanted to call out that in the interest of the transformation, we are the largest contributor to open source today. If you look at GitHub, Microsoft acquired GitHub 6 months back. Microsoft contributes close to about 70% of the GitHub open source contribution, number one. Number two, if you look at Azure, from the ground up, it is open for open source. You take from containers or from virtual machines or from platform as a service like Kubernetes. Everywhere we embrace open source. Recently, we also generally made available Apache Spark. So it is open platform. And Azure is trusted. We have gone through the pain of getting compliance and certification from various government bodies. Ministry of Electronics in India is a good one to name. And I also wanted to highlight the tough ones, such as the Department of Defense in the US, European Commission. Many public sector organizations have approved Microsoft Azure. So if you are a startup or an enterprise, you can safely bet on Azure to run your workloads. Finally, depending on where you are, where your business is, where your customer is, you can use our availability zones all over the world. We have 54 Azure regions globally, including India. And it's really more than AWS and Google Compute Platform combined. So that's the scale of our data centers. All right, close to about 95% of Fortune 500 companies are already using Azure. The list continues to grow. The most recent one is Shell, which completely moved onto Azure recently to run all of their operations. So this is a very, very big endorsement for the trust that many companies have in terms of how we manage their data and the workloads. So let me switch gears to intelligent cloud and intelligent edge. All right, so let's first talk about artificial intelligence. For the last 15 years, Microsoft has been working. How many of you are aware of Bing as a product? It's a search engine. Not many of you use it. Bing is not super popular in India. It has about 20% market share in the search market share. But behind Bing is all intelligence. The Bing team for the last 20 years has built various machine learning data science technologies. As an example, image recognition. If you have two images, if you wanted to compare, that algorithm already exists. Speech to text conversion or text to speech conversion, language conversion, conversational intelligence to have bot framework-based communication. All these algorithms are now democratized. You can freely use it today. The first thing when it comes to intelligence, if you're a startup, Mr. Raj talked about why before you start building your machine learning data science models, you first curate your data. I'm saying the curated data, if your startup is around any of these areas or tech, the data itself exists there. And the algorithms exist there. It's open sourced. You can use all these machine learning models and data to get started. But however, if you want to start from scratch, you can build your models on Azure easily. I'm going to walk you through how easy it is. So if you are a startup and if you're new to machine learning, if you wanted to build artificial intelligence to bring more intelligence-aware experiences to your application, you have 3 steps to follow. The first one is you have to first curate data. You have to bring your own data and make sure the data is high quality. So that's the first thing, whether it's a flat file, relational data, or any format, first you need to bring. Then you need to use algorithm to train that data, train your models, run a lot of experiments and tests, do a bunch of A/B tests to tune your models and incorporate it as part of your mainstream application. Finally, you deploy the solution. Let's see how you can do this. As an example, if you are trying to predict how much is your car worth, first of all, you need to bring first preparation of your data. First, you get all the data relevant to the car. You can, it could be the model of the car. I'm giving you a very, very simple example here. The model of the car, year it was bought, the mileage you have, and all of that. Then you bring it, it could be in a flat file or a relational store. You have open source tech that is available to crunch this data. As an example, I have here Azure Databricks. Apache Spark is available. So you can use those technology to bring your data and make sense and create interactive experience out of it. Then, as I said earlier, you can leverage the existing machine learning data science models that we have democratized and made it publicly available, or you can write your own algorithm, whether it's predictive or search, entity awareness, whatever you want for your algorithm to compute, you can build that algo in your favorite language. Again, you can use Python or R or Node, your choice of language on Azure. And then train your model by running a set of experiments and test against that data. Finally, you deploy that model back into the cloud. And for the deployment, we have a bunch of technologies already available. I'll walk through, by the way, in order to, in the experimentation, in the testing, we support all of the AI tool sets. The things that you're familiar with, TensorFlow or Cognitive Toolkit that I talked about, or Cafe2, everything is supported on Azure already. Then finally, you deploy it very easily. We support, again, open source. Whether it's a orchestrator that you're looking for your microservices through Service Bus, Azure Service Fabric, or you can use Kubernetes as well. All of these choices are available for you. This reinforces the point that I talked earlier. Azure is completely an open platform. So just to quickly summarize, in order to spray intelligence and build intelligence-aware applications, you have 3 things to do. Bring your data, make sure it's highly curated, train your models or leverage existing models, and deploy it using open source technologies. So that's the context behind running a successful intelligence-aware application. So moving on to, again, I do wanted to highlight that if you are a enterprise shop and you have data sitting on SQL or on a big data infrastructure like Cosmos DB or Azure Data Lake, or in a simple blob storage, we support all of that on Azure. So it's easy for you to get started. There is no reason why you shouldn't start here. There is no, in fact, we've removed all the roadblocks to bring your own data. So we support all kinds of formats. In fact, the upcoming version of Excel will let you bring your own data seamlessly. So you can use Excel as a front end to manage your data also. So that's very, very straightforward. This easiest takeaway I would give you is to go and take a look at the cognitive APIs that are already released, free. You just need a free subscription on Azure to try them out, tweak them, make changes to it, change the data sets and play around with it. That's the easiest way to start it. Anyway, so moving on, I will now move on to the intelligent edge, what it means. So we talked about bringing intelligence. Now I'll talk about Internet of Things. Microsoft believes that over 20 billion devices will be connected to the internet by 2020. And as I said earlier, we believe in this ubiquitous computing. We believe there is going to be heterogeneous devices running on Linux kernel or Windows kernel or even Android. So we believe that that's going to be the world we are going to be living in. Microsoft's strategy is to ensure that the edge and the cloud can communicate seamlessly, and the intelligence from the cloud can be passed on to the sensors running on the edge. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm having difficulty in moving this device. So about 1,000 devices are already certified using Microsoft IoT, and it's already supported by over 1,000 partners. You can go to IoT Central, Azure IoT Central, and select your favorite choice. We have devices ranging from $5 all the way till $150. At this point, I do wanted to talk about one of the innovations that Microsoft did last year that was released. How many of you are aware of something called Sphere, Azure Sphere? Again, this is a very fascinating story, and I'm happy to talk about this very transparently also. A set of researchers within Microsoft Research Device. So they worked with many teams, including our team, Windows team, and they tried to downsize Windows. They couldn't bring it below 115 meg. And they looked at a bunch of Linux distros, and they forked one of the Linux version. And then they made a connection, a very secure protocol between that Linux version to our cloud, Azure, and then worked with the chip manufacturer in Taiwan to make sure the chip is also secure. And they came up with this new device called Microsoft Sphere, which is our intelligent edge running on Linux with a footprint of about 60 meg. That's it. And it connects to Azure seamlessly. So a washing machine maker like Whirlpool or LG can buy that and to add intelligence to their end products. So I believe this price point is going to come down even more significantly over the next few years. And imagine if you're an enterprise, if you're a large-scale enterprise where security and trust is super, super important, you can absolutely trust this device. This is conceived from the foundation of security principles. There is a socket connection to Azure in a secure manner. So any data that goes back and forth or any upgrade that needs to happen to the device happens in a very secure fashion. And full control is given to the IoT device owners. So an analogy here is, if you're running a Windows machine, we push all the updates to you, but in case of IoT, the control needs to be given to the IoT device independent hardware vendors or to the original equipment manufacturers. So that's the scenario here. So please go ahead and take a look at Azure Sphere, which is a fascinating story of how we've leveraged open source tech, made it secure, affordable, that connects to cloud, Azure. So moving on. So as I said earlier, this is a very powerful story. And how do you manage all of your devices? And this is where the IoT Central comes handy. When you have an Azure subscription, you can go to IoT Central. You can look at all the devices that you need to manage. You can apply security in terms of who has access to it at the endpoint level. And then you can monitor. Hey, when do I need to monitor surveillance camera in this location? You can look at, you can drive all the alerts and manage it remotely. For example, if a surveillance camera needs to get a latest update about a particular data, you can push it also right from Azure IoT Central. It is highly scalable. This is a totally managed service. That's the beauty of this. It's running as a platform as a service. So as you grow your business, then as you expand your IoT endpoints and edges, you can simply leverage Azure to scale automatically. So simple cloud computing burst techniques will be applied here. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are a big manufacturer and you are expanding globally. You don't have to do anything so long as you enable for auto scale on Azure. It will automatically scale appropriately in various data centers. So it's very, very straightforward. So that's the beauty of Azure IoT Central. So you can, with this Azure IoT, you can manage all of your edges securely from one-stop shop from Azure IoT Central. You can manage the heartbeat and monitor all the alerts and data from one place. And continuously push the intelligence from the cloud to the edges. So with that, I wanted to leave you with a very brilliant video that we have. We've been partnering with Anil Kumble and his startup. How many of you have seen what Anil is doing? A few of you. I think, are you part of his company? Okay, you were immediately jumping, so I thought. Okay, so I'm going to show a very beautiful example that will clearly give you a perspective of how is Anil's startup leveraging cloud, intelligence from the cloud, and intelligence in the edge. So with that, I'll run that video. Hopefully, it will play. Can we have some volume? There is audio, actually.
powerful hitter. But what is...
Okay, I'll play it from the beginning so you have a good perspective of this.
Globally, franchise cricket is taking a huge leap. You have a new fan following, and cricket has certainly embraced a lot of technology over the last few years. My early memories playing cricket was on the streets of Bangalore. For me, it was all about commitment, about discipline. We've always heard experts talk about batting, saying he's hitting it from the sweet spot, he's a powerful hitter. But what does that mean in real data? There's hardly any sport that can give you live data coming out of the equipment of the player. This is a Spectracom power bat. Behind this sticker is a small sensor sticker, the size of a credit card, less than 5 grams in weight. It captures data and transfers it in real time using Microsoft's artificial intelligence, machine learning. You get the speed of the bat in kilometers per hour. Also the quality, how close was it to the sweet spot of that particular bat, and also how much of a twist was there in the bat. All of this then generates the power. We have brought out a new unit of power called specs. For self-improvement, it's a great tool. You don't need anybody looking over your shoulders. You can actually improve on your own with the data that comes out. The form factor was critical. I felt the need for something that can be non-intrusive and easily acceptable by the player. You can attach it to any bat. The charging can happen through any wireless charger. You need an app which you can download, and then it starts talking to the bat. And the sticker itself will store enough data for you to download that data onto your computer. Spectracom's mission is to create an ecosystem where you engage the fan, the professional athletes, the amateur, and we are starting off with cricket, and it will also be available for other sports. It could be baseball, it could be tennis, even hockey, or for that matter, golf. What we've been able to achieve in the last 8 months, it's thanks to Microsoft. It's not easy to get the data in real time and then pass it on to the broadcaster. And that's where Microsoft AI Services has helped us. It's wonderful to have the top global technology company to be a part of that, and we are hoping to ride on that platform and then reach out to millions of people across the world.
Thank you so much.
Wow, not sure, did Anil Kumble mention football in that, in example?
I think this is a tech that can be applied to any games. I think
Sunil Chetri is here in the evening around 5:30. I think he might ask this question in case he sees his presentation. But thanks a lot for this wonderful
Thank you.
presentation.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.